Alright, happy Monday everyone. Hope you guys had a great long weekend. I will definitely see you guys tomorrow. Make sure I get all my calculators back. And here we go with our first lesson of Unit 4. We have a few terms that some of them we've talked about, some of them we haven't. So I want to make sure that we understand those. So I have them typed in red. We have vertex. Vertex is something that we have seen before. Over here, I have my grid, or my axis. Remember, we're going to be dealing with a parabola here. The vertex is that green point right there. Okay, so we're going to be finding that vertex a lot today. Now, the vertex can be labeled in two different ways. There's minimum and there's maximum, and it's kind of different from what you think it would be on describing it. So minimum is lowest point, which that's fine. And that means that it's kind of like what I just drew before. It's the lowest point of that parabola, okay? Then if we go to maximum, whoops, not sure what that's going on there. It's the highest point. So instead of having a U, we flip it, and again, it's that point right there. So that's how you label the vertex. You tell if it's a minimum if we have a U, a maximum if it's a flipped U. Then we have axis of symmetry and y-intercept. Axis of symmetry, or AOS, as you'll hear me say a lot, is the line that cuts the parabola in the middle. We use that information for other stuff, but I'll show you how to find that. And the y-intercept is where the parabola crosses the y-axis. So in drawing, I'm very slow with this stylus. Not the vertex area, but this is where it's crossing that y-axis. And we're going to need to find those coordinates here. Now remember, if you need to pause at any point, please do so you can go back and write what we have or rewind to see what you missed. Going through to example 1. So we need to state the vertex, find if it's a min or max, state the axis of symmetry, and then also the y-intercept. So again, remember, the vertex is this point right here. So we use our coordinates. Since we go left 2 to get there, it's -2. And when we went down 4, -2, -4 would be our vertex. Now, since it's a U, we circle minimum. Once you find the vertex, the axis of symmetry is very, very, very easy. It's whatever the x value of that vertex is. So since we just circled -2, we write x equals -2. I apologize, let's erase that. That's just annoying. Oops. And I'll draw a better equal sign. Alright, then for the y-intercept, remember that's where it crosses the y-axis, which that's a point that we have used a lot, even has its own name. It's not always like this, just happens to be for this, but our coordinates for our y-intercept are 0, 0. Okay, looking at example 2. Same thing, but now we have a flipped U. Let's find the vertex first, such as right there. So we go right 1, so that's a +1, and up 5, so my coordinates are 1, 5. Again, it is a flipped U, so we'd circle the max. Remember, the x value of this vertex is our axis of symmetry, so we write x equals 1. Whoops. And then our y-intercept, where it's crossing, is right there. And we write it as coordinates, so there's no left or right on that, so that's 0, and we went up 4, so 0, 4. Now we're going to kind of do the reverse of what we just did. So now I give you all of the information, and now I need to graph it. The points that I'll plot are the vertex and the y-intercept. Okay, the other two are just kind of to give helpful information. So first you want to make your dot at -3, 4. So we're going to go left 3, up 4. And then we're going to make our dot at 0, 5. Now the weird part is we don't put it on here, but there will be a dot similar to it over here. And then we know it's a minimum, so we're going to have a U. It's not as pretty as yours, but that is our vertex, or our parabola there. This dot here, it's just kind of a reflection of the dot on the other side, the y-intercept that we drew. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just having an idea of it. All right, next example. So again, these are the points that we're going to be plotting. And just make sure we realize we have a maximum, so we know it's going to be flipped when we draw this. So 3, 1, we go right 3, up 1. Then 0, -5 now. And I'm going to kind of make a dot over here because it's kind of mirroring, reflecting what we just did. And then we connect the dots. Hopefully yours is not as wiggly as mine. So the next part we're going to do is we're going to talk about something that we talked about Unit 1. So it's been a little while, so I want to give a reminder on this. Domain and range. Let me put it to where you can see what I have. All right. So domain was the x values, and that's where we talk about the left and right parts of the graph. Range were y values, and we talk about up and down. Now for both of these, we use the parentheses and the brackets. So remember, parentheses, we're going to be for infinities. Brackets were for numbers. And then also, anytime we use negative infinity, okay, that means that our graph went down or left. And if we use positive infinity, that means our graph is going up or right. So again, we have talked about this before, but let's review over this. So I have two graphs here. Okay, one's a U, one is a flipped U. I apologize that I do not have any arrows drawn on this, so we're just going to, anytime they go to the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, we put our arrows on there. So do we see how we have a left arrow? If we have a left arrow, then we're going to put negative infinity. And we also have a right arrow, so our domain for this is going to be positive infinity, both with parentheses. Looking at example 6, even though it's a flipped over U, we still have a left arrow, meaning it's going to be negative infinity. And we have a right arrow, meaning it's going to be a positive infinity. For all parabolas, for all U's and flipped U's, this is going to be our domain for all of them. Okay, so you can always just put that down. Range is a little different. Remember, range is going to use the Y value we have here. And for this one, we're at 1 for our Y value, and it's pointed up. So 1 is the smallest number with a bracket. And then since it's pointed up, that uses infinity, which are parentheses. Looking at the range here, again, we're using that 5. And it's pointed down. Anytime we use a down arrow, that's a negative infinity. And that negative infinity goes first. So let's use the color I like to use. So negative infinity, and then we use the 5 with a bracket. So for the next two examples, we're going to kind of put it all together. So I give you a graph, we're going to find all the information. So the vertex, -2, -3. We have a flipped u, so that is a max. We use our x value for x equals -3. We have to look and see where it crosses the y-axis, and that's right there. So 0, -7. Remember, our domain is always -infinity, infinity. And then we're going to use our y value, which was -3, pointed down. So we'd use a -infinity, -3. Last example for the day. Now I give you all of the information we need to graph it. So if you want to pause and try this, go for it, and then I'll have the answer here for you. Alright, so the answer for this one, we go right 1, down 2. Because we graph this. This is another way you'll see the y-intercept at times. This is the same thing as 0, -1. So we go here. Remember, do like kind of a reflecting dot. Connect my dots, kind of. And then our domain is always -infinity, infinity. Range with this one, the y value was -2. Pointed up, so that uses infinity. Therefore, it's -2, infinity. Thank you guys so much for listening. Do all the 5 problems for homework. If you have any questions, Mr. Dryer has the answer key and also can help. And make sure I get my calculators back. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.